Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
This podcast is yours. So we get so many comments and messages and emails and all of that. And we do read and see every single one, but they don't all make it to the show. Well, that's what this is for, though. So we're going to dig in.
Put that much sausage in one skin.
All right, Murphy's really on one today. All right. Get ready for it, kids.
You know, in all the years, I've never heard Murphy, Sam, and Jodi described that way.
Yeah.
Me either.
Too much sausage for the skin.
How would you like to start unloading some of the sausage here, Sam?
I'll have one right here, and has nothing to do with sausage, but it is for you, Murphy.
Okay.
Sandra says, I was listening on my way to work, and I heard you say you love the smell of a book. Mm-hmm. We are kindred spirits. The smell of a book and turning pages is one of my favorite things about reading.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it is. That's why I love the smell of a bookstore with all that new paper in there or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a happy. I don't even know where that came from. It's just a happy smell.
It came from you being a kid in libraries. I mean, it's familiar.
Well, yeah.
But you know, I also like the kind of musty smell of older books too.
Older books
That's weird.
Yeah, it depends on how musty. But the turning of the page for me and holding it now. The truth of the matter is sometimes I'll take on these big, huge books. You know, some of the Cormoran Strike books that I read are really, really thick. Mm-hmm. And I'm laying in bed and it's heavy. And it's like, ugh. That's when I wish I had, bought it on an e-reader, which is usually kind of light.
Yeah.
So there's, pros and cons to all of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't have to have bookshelves full of books if you have everything on an e-reader. So there's no wrong way to read. As long as
it's not as impressive when you hold up a thin piece of metal and say, "This is my book collection."
Still, it's cool though.
I think the other thing, now that I'm flashing back, is as a kid, when the Scholastic Book Fair would come along and you handed that sheet and you would check off what books you want, and 3 weeks later they would come in and you had these fresh books that had never been opened. And
so smart, them to get you excited about books in that way. But as kids, the cool things we were most excited about at the book fair were all the little trinkets. They had to get you excited with the trinkets to then get you into the books,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Do you prefer hardbound or do you like paperbacks?
I like paperbacks for the
comfort.
Yeah, the holding of it. The ease. For the ease of it. Yeah. But there are certain books that if it's a favorite book of mine, there's something about having a hard copy of it and the hardbound.
Yeah, well, you've got the Harry Potter series that way. You've got a lot of the hardbound books.
I do.
I like the smell.
They last better.
The smell more of paperbacks. And I don't know if it's because when I was really little, really like 7, 8 years old, I used to get Peanuts comic books.
Oh, yeah?
Or they were like a paperback size, but it was just like one, cartoon after another. And that smell, whenever I smell that smell, it takes me back to being 7 reading Peanuts books.
Yeah. Scent is one of the biggest things associated with memory. Mm-hmm. That's why the smell of rolls baking will remind you of a cafeteria. If you went to a school that had that, that scent on a campus means, oh, you're getting rolls at lunch today.
That is one of the most heavenly scents that there actually is.
I know. Bread baking or rolls. Mm-hmm. I know. With the shiny tops.
Walking past Subway.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Completely. Or like Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go to back when Blockbuster was around, we used to go to a Blockbuster that was next to a Subway.
Oh.
And the whole time you're shopping for movies, it's like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm so hungry.
Can you imagine if they had the bread baked somewhere else and didn't bake it fresh in the stores? They would not have that story. Mm-mm. And everyone has had that experience with Subway. Whether you're a fan and you roll in for a sub or not, the smell has gotten you.
The smell of Subway.
The baking of the bread.
The place where I work out next door is a donut shop, which is irony in itself, right? But
although when you work out in the late evening, the donut shop is not open.
I know they're not
in the evening.
But when I go there on Saturdays, as you know, Jodi,
they're busy.
And it's crazy because it's close enough that when somebody opens the door, that's where the smell comes out. It's not like, there's a burger place nearby too that smells pretty good. But it's ironic that it's right next to where you're working out.
Well, you can't get away from that, right? No. To them, it's ironic that there's a gym next door. If you're sitting there eating the donuts with the chocolate milk, you're like, man, I need to go to the gym.
Yeah, but I'm going to stay here and have another.
Okay, thank you for that. Was it Sandy? Sandra. Thank you for that. Peggy sent this. Jodi, I can really understand even more why your mom is your hero. She should be. My mom had breast cancer and had both removed at different times in life, and she made jokes. We were talking about my mom's, breast cancer. She fought it this year. She had a lumpectomy, but she definitely made jokes, even on the day of her surgery, as a way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And she was nervous, for sure. My mom always put up a brave front. This is Peggy. It was because of her that I'm the way I am. I've never been diagnosed with any kind of cancer, thank goodness, but I always let her know that she was my hero. When cancer came back and took her, I was with her and prayed that if anything like that ever happened to me, I would be just as brave. Your mom is lucky to have you. Believe me, let her know. Continue to let her know that she's beautiful. Believe me, that will mean more than you know. That's a good point to make.
Yeah.
When a woman is going through something as personal as breast cancer, she needs to know that she's still the woman that she always was. Both hang in there. I'm glad you shared your mom's story. Yes, I know it's hers to tell, but most of the time they don't like to tell the story. Go figure. That's true, Peggy. Thank you for that.
But I think, when your mom shares something like that for the benefit of others, and it creates the awareness of, hey, early detection matters.
It was early detection. She was rolling in there for her annual mammogram, like she had done many, many times before for years. And there was never anything. And she was more surprised than anyone that, hey, you need to come back in here. We see something. That was last October. And so now she's been through it. And for now, she is cancer-free.
Yeah. And she got 2 free new bras.
She did. That was one of her jokes. I got 2 new bras the hard way, which were given to her on the day of the surgery. And they're actually soft, sweet bras. Soft and supportive and pink in color.
Tracy sent a note here about the same thing, Jodi.
Okay.
She was talking about how when you shared that experience on the show, it choked you up, obviously. It's wild how when you can have thoughts on something, but when you begin to speak it, it comes into existence. It's very easy to get choked up like that.
Speaking it gives it a different sort of reality or life.
Yes. And she says, Jodi, thank you for sharing your mom's breast cancer journey with us. The emotion in your voice that came through really only emphasizes the love, care, and concern you have for your mom. It's completely understandable. You would be the first one to tell someone to give themselves grace when sharing such a personal story.
It's true.
And so Tracy also says, praying that she stays cancer-free now and forever. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy. 2 things were going on that day. I was speaking it, and I didn't think my mom would let me share. I asked her permission. Look, can I talk about your breast cancer story? And I really thought she would say no, and I would have been okay with that. It is her story, not mine. But I was so grateful that she let me share it. But the other thing that was going on, and the reason that it bothered me to be choked up about it, is because, it's our job here when we're in the show to communicate and to, move, keep it going. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get hung up. I do understand though, to give myself grace when talking about my mother, who is my Achilles heel in life. Murphy, you know that.
Yeah, right.
She's just extra special to me. She and I have been through a lot together, ups and downs. And so, it's been a journey with us.
I guess maybe that's the reason that you hear about talk therapy, because sometimes speaking things doesn't mean you always have to burst into tears or laughter or whatever. Sometimes just speaking it is cathartic. But I know that, like when my dad passed away, which has been that's going to be 5 years this January, which is really hard to believe. And obviously I still miss him tremendously. But you begin to handle it better. But if I were to start to talk about specific things again, it would bring it back to life.
Yeah.
And it's weird how it will choke you up all of a sudden out of nowhere seemingly, but just speaking it into existence brings it back to life.
The work is being done. That's one reason. Like, shout out for therapy.
Yeah.
You go into therapy, the professional that you're working with doesn't have the answers. They're there to help you find your own answers.
Yeah.
And they get you speaking about things, and you start working things out. They're there to lead you, guide you. You do the work.
Right.
And that work is through speaking. Yeah. And sometimes they'll send you home with homework, like write this, think about this, come back to me next week with this. Anyway, I know I've been there. Used to, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I went and I was told that. And it was like, oh, okay, I'll write these things down and come back to you.
Right.
and it was effective.
Well, thank you for the kind words on that, Tracy.
Yeah, little therapy here, just going deep a little bit. We do read and see every single message and email that you send. You can email anytime, murphysamandjodi.com.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.